Hey everybody, welcome to what hopefully will be the first of many cool Shadow of the Golden Dome interviews. I am honored to be joined by Randy and April Thomas out of Atlanta. Thanks to both of you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, thank you for being here. Okay, so we kind of talked right before we went live, and I just think it's really cool to listen to the perspective of a player's parents. We always hear from the players and we always see them on TV. They're padding up every Saturday. They get the recognition as they should, but I feel like the group would be like, I think they'd be well served to hear what it's like, that interesting perspective, that special perspective of the parents in the stands watching their kid play football. So thanks again for being here. So we'll start here. Jayden obviously excelled at football growing up. He's playing for the University of Notre Dame. Was he a multi-sport athlete? And when did you as parents and Jayden kind of realize football was the sport for them? Like this is his thing. This is where we're rolling.
Well, yes, we have an older son also, so they all always played basketball, football, and baseball. Baseball being the sport that both of them were best at, to tell the truth. But they're both excelled at football, and so whenever we were at my oldest practices, football, JT would be getting reps, practicing and working them out on the sideline until he was old enough to start playing himself. And as far as baseball, same thing at his older brother's practices. When he didn't have practice, he would be shagging balls, or we let him bat at the end of practice. Coach would throw him a couple from his distance, and he'd get the hit, and the older kids would get the, cheer him on and everything. But baseball was definitely, he was heavy into baseball, travel, did the whole travel thing. Once he started high school, he let go of travel and started focusing. He still played high school baseball, but put most of the focus on football. Uh, when we knew that it was going to be pretty much football only was when he tore his ligament in his last high school baseball game. Tore a ligament in his hand. So that's when we knew.
It's a sign. It's a sign.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Right.
it's it's interesting to hear that because you people conventional wisdom would be, a kid or a boy or girl focuses on one sport growing up, but really you read more and more that
Oh
the
yeah.
kids that play multiple sports are the ones that are really your college athletes because they're honing all those different skills. And you always hear that, right? It's not like you have a football in their hand from the minute they're a toddler and just that's all they do. It's really the kids that are well-rounded. Was he in track and field or anything like that also or
No, he like Randy said, he played we went from football to basketball to baseball.
Hmm.
But kind of like you mentioned, we really feel like basketball helped him tremendously with his football skills. I mean, the way that he tracks the ball. JT played center field, shortstop, and he also pitched and played third base. And you can see how all of those skills really translate to the football field. So
Yeah.
I think that's what you see when you have multi sports athletes.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, you can just see in the way he moves on the field. So Jayden plays prep ball at the Pace Academy, and is that in Atlanta?
Yes. So he actually, in ninth grade, we made the decision for him to attend Pace Academy. So we actually live in Paulding County, which is in
Okay.
Dallas, Georgia. That's about 45 minutes northwest of Atlanta. And so Pace Academy is in Buckhead, which is about 45 minutes from where we live. So in ninth grade, we made the decision for him to apply to a private school in Atlanta. And so that's where he spent his high school career at.
Well, I'm chuckling as you say that because now I know why I thought for a second you were in Texas when we were
Oh,
talking about the
okay.
timing. I was like, oh, we're on the same time. Well, you're in Dallas. My mind goes, well, you're in Dallas, right? So,
Yes,
okay, all right, got it,
that's why.
got it. Yes, the very famous Dallas, Georgia. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so he plays at the Prep Academy, and I wrote a few of these down, and if I miss a few, correct me here. But so he comes out of school and he's got offers North Carolina, all the big hitters, Michigan, Florida, Alabama, South Carolina, Georgia, Penn State, Tennessee, and of course Notre Dame. That has to feel absolutely amazing when that first letter comes in. First of all, the fruits of his labor, right? And you two helping him do that. But then Well, he's gonna have his school paid for to play football. I mean, what does that feel like when those letters come in and he's running up to you? Look at this. Look. I mean, what does that feel like as a parent?
Well, Jayden isn't that type of kid to say,
No.
look at this,
Okay.
look at this. It would be, we would find it in his room under some stack of papers and be like, when were you going to tell us that you got this
Uh,
off?
keep it a secret.
Exactly. But it was very exciting. He put a lot of work in to get to where he was at. We did a lot of camping. So actually his first offer was an in-person offer. And that was from North Carolina. Went to a camp in North Carolina, and he got in person from Fuente. Oh, who was there at that time? Not Fuente. That was Virginia Tech. I can't remember who was the coach before Mac Browning
Brown came. I'm not sure.
at USC.
Yes. Yeah, we're talking what 19? Was it
It was
2019 or
20.
18 or
19,
20?
it was probably 18 or 19.
Yeah, I can't recall either here sitting here.
Yeah, but he offered JT at a camp, and then he was real excited. And from then, he got even more focused
Oh, yeah.
and went on from there. And the letters just kept coming.
I think the most exciting probably offer, JT grew up, which is kind of interesting. I'm originally from Blacksburg, Virginia, so I was born and raised a Hokie. But he was an Alabama fan growing up. So I think he was most excited when he got his offer from Coach Saban. And so that was probably the one offer that I actually got a phone call about, where we could really see his excitement about. So that was the big one that,
Oh,
he
yeah.
was pretty excited about.
Well, we weren't excited. I heard about it on Twitter.
Did you
I saw
really?
the Twitter post that he was offered by Alabama. So yes,
Like, why is nobody texting dad on this? What's going on here?
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right. Well, welcome to the new world, right? Like Twitter and Facebook and everything. Oh, that's funny. All right, okay. So these offers come in, the excitement's there. You as parents, you're just bursting at the seams with pride. What was it? You have the great, undisputed greatest college coach of all time offering your son, right, in Alabama. What is it about Notre Dame that set everyone apart? What set Notre Dame apart, and what role did you two play in that decision? Because there had to be some, like the two of you, like, oh, Alabama, oh my gosh, really? I mean, was there some of that? Was there any struggle? What kind of sold you guys on Notre Dame and importantly Jayden, and how did those discussions go?
Well, I think to begin with, I think it's important to kind of bring to light the time frame in which JT had to make his decision. He graduated in 2021, so we were right in the middle of COVID. So his recruiting process was not traditional at all. So he did not get the traditional experience of being able to do the official visits because everything was shut down. So that was really, really, really tough. It was tough for all of us because obviously we wanted to make the best decisions, but we weren't able to go on those official visits that you want to get the feel for. So everything was being done virtually at that time. So really for our recruiting process for him, a lot was really made by JT. I mean, obviously we were a part of the process with him. But he really, the way that he kind of explained it to us, in which we were, I think we were both really impressed with how he was able to articulate it and communicate it to us. I think it went back to the decision that we made when he went to high school. He left Paulding County, where all of his friends were, that he had known, that he grew up with, to go to a completely different school with people he didn't know, that had really high academic rigor. So we were, there were things that we as a family had discussed that were important to us, and it was academics, that we wanted him. We knew his athletic ability would always make room for him, but we wanted to make sure for the future that, he had everything at his fingertips that he could desire. And he really felt like he sacrificed a lot in high school to go to Pace Academy. And he really kind of made the decision that he wanted to go somewhere not only that had the best football program, but he wanted to make sure that he went somewhere where his degree meant something. That was something that was really important to him. And so when he narrowed it down to what his top 5, it was Michigan, Ohio State,
I think Penn State,
Notre Dame, it might have been Penn
Georgia,
State,
Bama.
and Georgia and Bama. I think he thought about everything that he'd sacrificed in high school, and he said, I want to go somewhere where my degree means something. And that's how he chose Notre Dame.
It's awesome.
So that's how we ended up Irish.
Well, that's amazing. So I was thinking about that as you were speaking, the COVID years and the recruiting. Is it essentially a FaceTime of, hey, here's our football facilities? I mean, is that really what it is?
We have gone on a lot of camping and a lot of just unofficial visits.
Some of these schools you already had kind of a familiarity with.
But just as far as the official, where he gets to, spend time, get to see what life is like. Like we got to see what football was like at all these places, but he never got to see what life is like at a lot of these colleges. So,
and that we would say when we're giving advice to other families that ask us about, how do you make that decision? We really do talk to them about it is bigger than just football, because understand your child has to live there. So you need to look at the community that they're living in. Because again, for like JT, for a child that grew up in Georgia, South Bend sounds amazing, but JT didn't grow up with snow. And when he thinks about snow, he has no idea what truly snow looks like.
Lake effect snow.
Right.
Right.
So, he was super excited about that until he called us after it had been snowing for like 2 weeks. And he was like, it's not stopping. And you still have to go, you're still going to class. You're still, so those are things that you don't always, when you're 18 years old, yes, they're thinking about football, right? But they're not thinking about the environment, the community, and what you're living in. Notre Dame is a very special place to live in, but it is different from where he grew up. Yeah. So those are some things like when you don't get to kind of do your official visits where you're spending the night, spending time, you get to really immerse yourself like in the campus, seeing other students, different things like that that he kind of missed out on. We were, really lucky. Again, he had done unofficial visits. He also had some classmates that had older siblings that had attended. So he had been able to come up and visit, more than one or two times. So he did kind of have a feel for the school, which we're very thankful for. But those are the things that we would say that you really need to think about.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it makes total sense. And something a kid coming up isn't going to even think about, right? The quality of life outside of the football program.
Right.
Nah, that's cool. When you finally got on campus and you'd done unofficials, so you'd been in the South Bend and you'd seen campus and everything. What were a few highlights for the two of you personally from your first trip or two? What stood out? What resonated?
Well, I can say I actually did not visit, and correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't visit until he had committed. They had been for camps, so they had already seen the campus.
Well, we didn't really, it rained, so we didn't really see the campus. It was raining.
But for me, when I came, and because I was born and raised in Blacksburg, every campus that I ever visited, I really compared everything to Virginia Tech. Like that was kind of that was my standard of everything. And I came up, it was the Clemson game, actually. It was the Clemson game that I came up for with JT and some friends. And this, again, because of the COVID and everything being shut down, JT was not allowed to be around the team. Or go to the game.
Really?
Yes. So we actually had to watch the game. Like we couldn't be at the stadium. And, that game was amazing.
It's so
Um,
surprising because there were people in the stands. You would think that you would be able to get in there somehow.
Well,
yeah,
those are all,
those were
the
rules.
family. It was family of
Direct family.
players.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
direct family. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
was it students allowed to
Yeah, I
go?
think there were students. I think the students were allowed, right, at that time,
Yeah, and direct
and
family.
direct family. And so, but the weather that day was it was beautiful, and I actually remembered FaceTiming my mom and dad walking just kind of around, like I was, so close to campus, and I said, "It this feels like Blacksburg, like this feels like home." I was like, "It's just beautiful here." So, I mean, things that stood out to me, obviously, I mean, I know it sounds really cliche, but like the grotto was just everything. Um, like our faith is extremely important to us. So to think that there was a special place that I knew that he had, that he could always go to pray, and that was just right there on campus, that was like everything to me. Um, there were just so many like really special moments that I just felt like if God didn't plan this out perfectly, check, check,
Yeah.
check, check. So, I mean, I think that visit for me alone was just, it was just pure perfection. Like I could see how happy he was. Um, Everybody here in or there in South Bend, extremely welcoming, which reminds me of Blacksburg. Like everywhere we went, it was welcome to Notre Dame. Like it really did feel like home. And I felt like he was going to be supported and taken care of by the people that were there on that campus and in the community there, which was super important to me with him being so far away from home.
It's awesome. So here's a good one. What is the biggest surprise? Notre Dame has one of the most rabid, fan bases out there, right? Especially for the football team. What was the biggest surprise becoming parents of a football player at Notre Dame, and something that people may not realize about being the parent of a player? Was there anything that, I mean, you'd been with JT, he'd been playing a high level of football, so you were already in that orbit, you were already in that world. Was there anything once you'd gotten on campus and he had put the pads on for Notre Dame that you're like, sheesh? Or were you kind of ready for everything that came with that notoriety that JT would have?
I think just for one, playing for such a program with so much history, where you're nationally recognized, just not on the East Coast. You got fans all over the world. I mean, not just in a certain state or a coast. I mean, they're Notre Dame fans are worldwide. So, and then it also being like every part of Notre Dame is like has history. It's like, you got Touchdown Jesus, you got, the Basilica, there's everything it's like you're taking in history every time you walk campus. So, and we really, bought into, his dream of playing college football and the place that he played. I mean, you see movies about Notre Dame. I
Yeah.
mean, I've never seen Rudy, but
We need to fix that.
we and I think for me, it's kind of what he said. I feel like every time we come or go to a game, like we can be anywhere and somebody will see the indie or whatever, and we learn something new and we get a story. And it's the stories that are, I mean, it's people's great grandfathers and grandfathers and
yeah,
mothers and sisters, and it's like the history and the stories that intertwine people. And because again, like Notre Dame was never on my radar ever. I just did not know how connected and how far the Notre Dame fan base truly is. It is just absolutely amazing. And we can be anywhere. And if somebody sees that ND, I mean, they come up to you and they immediately start talking and they have a story to tell. and what it means to them and what it means to their family. And I think that is the coolest thing, to think that now my son is attached to that history now. So that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Would what as far as, so Jayden, does he have, is this his final year? He redshirted, right? Does he have another year if he so
Yes.
chooses? Okay.
Yes.
What was your impression of, so he spends a year on campus, or he comes home on the breaks and the holiday breaks and stuff. What was your impression of the coaching staff as far as impacting his growth, not only on the field, which obviously we've seen, but off the field?
So JT has had quite the
You have to be more specific. Which coaching staff?
yes,
that was the segue to the that was the segue into the next question where we're going to touch on. So here, so I'll hit you with the whole thing, and we can just do a long form. So Jayden obviously went through the coaching transition when BK went to LSU. Was he recruited by was it Coach Rees? And I think it was Alexander at the time, Coach Alexander,
yes.
or
yes.
does that ring? Okay.
Yeah.
So couple questions, then I'll do a two-parter here. And you tackle this however you want, but what growth did you see from either staff? Looks like there might be opinion on either one or on both. And I'll let you do however you want to do that. And when Brian Kelly left, were there any private discussions between mom, dad, and JT, like, I don't know, do I stick around in South Bend? I think I already know the answer to this, but was there any struggle for him as far as, this was the staff that brought me in, I don't know about this, or I'm locked in, I'm all in for South Bend and Notre Dame? What were those discussions like, and how have you seen him grow as a man at Notre Dame?
I think it's pretty fair to say, just based on where JT is now, JT obviously has been Irish through and through. I think his goal was always, I think JT knew what he wanted from Notre Dame. And, we've always kind of said to him that trying to keep your focus on like what your ultimate goal is super important. And different kids' personalities, I will say this, you get different things. JT, for the most part, like, you would think as a parent, like, we have all this great behind the scenes information, but he really is protective of his team, his brothers, and like, they are his family. And so in regards to that, I think, when that first change happened, he was young. I mean, that was his freshman year. And so he was just getting his feet in the door. And we always said, you never choose like a team based on like a coach, because those things can and will change. And what we have learned is, for him, that definitely has, right? I mean, he's had, several different wide receiver coaches, different head coaches, different OCs. He's been through it all. But one of the best attributes or characteristics of JT is like, he really is a team first kind of kid. He's always been that way. And I think he's done a good job of just keeping his focus on keeping the main thing, if that makes this, makes sense. And he always has known he's wanted to play a high level of football. And he wants his degree, and he wants it from Notre Dame. And so he will get his degree in December. And, awesome. That was the first goal. And so the rest of it, I feel like, I think from all of the different coaches he's gotten, like, he's been able to, gain different pieces from all of them, if that makes sense. Like, they've all had, different things that have helped him grow into the player that he is.
And I think that speaks just volumes of his character too, and the both of you as parents, because in this new culture we're in with NIL, and I mean, kids make their own decisions for their families and whatever, but there's such a, seems like, lack of loyalty to the schools anymore. And to hear him say, I'm locked in regardless, no matter what, I picked the school, not the coaching staff, right? That's awesome. I think that's
And
incredible.
I want to say this because I want to make sure that nobody misreads also another side of this, because we have a lot of kids that have gone on to go, that have transferred to different schools for a variety of
Right.
reasons. And we also want to say this so that it gives fans another perspective. It's also important for people to also understand, like sometimes, when decisions are made, to go into the portal, it's also not always the kid's decision.
Mhm.
Sometimes that comes from coaching staff too, that sometimes there's not a fit for the kid anymore. So loyalty always goes both ways. I want to make
Yeah.
sure I say that. Like
Understood.
sometimes, um, kids may want to be loyal, and sometimes the school may not always, you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
it does go both ways. So I don't want anyone to ever think, um, you know, when you see a kid leave, um, it's because they didn't have enough grit, or they weren't able to,
Or because of NIL.
yeah, or because of NIL, or because of playing time. Like sometimes things may look like that, and sometimes that is the case. But there are a lot of other things that this truly has become for everyone, coaches, players, for everyone. It has become a business. And
Yeah.
that's extremely difficult for 18, 19, 20, and 21-year-old kids and families to navigate. It's not as, I guess, black and white as you may think. And that's pretty heavy for kids and families to have to weigh. And that's on top of just being regular students, dealing with regular things that college students have to deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Hmm.
We're talking about the high academic, you know, caseload that they have to deal with at Notre Dame, because our boys have to go to class.
Yep.
Our boys are doing the work. There's
Hmm.
nobody taking tests for them or doing their papers or showing up for them. They are doing all of that themselves. So their degrees, they are their degrees.
Yeah.
And then just normal things that college students have to deal with. I mean, they're still dealing with the normal things that college students go through, relationship things,
Sick relative.
relatives
Hmm.
getting sick,
Hmm.
you know, just all of the things that normal life throws at them as regular college students. So those things are happening too, on top of football, which truly is, a full-time job. And then you add on top of that injuries and sickness and
Social media.
Oh yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
the things that they have to deal with in their DMs and in their private messages after games. I mean, um, when we talk about mental health, seeing some of the things and the challenges that they have to deal with in regards to being, a student athlete, I don't really know that we could probably even articulate it appropriately, because
Right.
the pressure now is so great. And
And,
it
and
never
be,
really turns off now.
right. And that's after you talk about a kid playing at a school like Notre Dame where all the eyes are on
Right.
him. No, and that's a great point to make too, because as a fan base, something every fan base, it's not exclusive to just Notre Dame fans,
Right.
but you have a kid leave and it's, oh, he's jumping ship or what. There's so many, a myriad of factors behind the scenes that a fan
Right.
base as a whole just doesn't take into effect. So I think that's a great point to make.
Right.
So we touched on the coaching staff. So let's talk about Coach Free.
Mm.
I love this guy. And I'll tell you, I was just briefly say this. I was in College Station for the A&M game, and the video that went viral on Instagram of him pumping the kids up. I had a vantage point of that, and I was like, I have wanted this at Notre Dame for so long. I'm so hungry for a coach like this, a young, fiery guy. I mean, he's actually my age, which is unbelievable, 38 years old. What do you guys think about Coach Free? How Jayden's got to love him. I mean, kids seem to gravitate toward this guy. What's your guys, what as a parents, what's your take on Coach Freeman?
I think you can see it from the boys that they would run through a brick wall for him.
You can feel it.
Yeah. His energy, um, I think what you saw on that viral video, I mean, is exactly what you get and what those boys get. And I don't know anything. Like I said, JT came in, he was only here for 1 year with BK. So I really don't know anything prior to that. So we really kind of only know Coach Freeman for the most part for us, because that first year was JT's, freshman year.
Yeah.
So that's really all we know. And as you can see, the boys respond really well to him. And I mean,
I think it's good to have a coach that the rest of the, like, outside of our fan base, like, there are a lot of people that say, "Oh, I love your coach."
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
love his energy. I love, I see him on TV or whatever, and it makes us feel. I mean, they may be fans of another team, but just to say that, to get that kind of excitement, and you're not even rooting for Notre Dame,
right.
I mean, it makes us feel good.
Have you two been able to establish a relationship with him, or is it usually just what you see and what JT shares? Have you gotten any good FaceTime with the coach and gotten to establish a relationship of your own with him?
Well, I mean, what moments we have had with him have all been very positive. So we haven't spent like a ton of time with
Mm-hmm.
him. And I kind of hope that's a good thing, if in the
Right,
way that
right,
that I kind of see that we've not had, any major reasons to spend a
right,
whole lot of time with him.
right.
So that the moments that we have spent with him have all been positive. Those are after, bowl celebrations. I mean, they're during positive interactions, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So yes, I mean,
Our preseason
our
cookouts,
preseason stuff, when we're
stuff like
having those kind
yeah.
of get-togethers. JT wasn't recruited by Coach Freeman, so
Sure.
we didn't have that time where we were developing, kind of
Yes.
a relationship with him. So our stuff has been all of the stuff that we do, like as parents, when we're kind of getting together for team stuff.
Yeah, I would imagine for parents that rapport is built in the recruitment process,
Yes.
and then
Right.
they're playing football, and you
Yes.
don't, like you
And
said,
it's more
probably.
so with your position group.
Yeah.
You spend more time with your position group coach than you would necessarily the head coach, if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense. No, that's great. That's great to hear. Okay, so we're toward the end here. We got NFL football to watch anyway. So one more question and then a short lightning round, and we'll get out of here. So we already touched on it. Jayden does have one more year of eligibility if he so chooses to keep it, correct? Whether this is his last year or he's going to stick around, I won't ask you to weigh in on that. Here's what I will ask. When his days at Notre Dame are done, and you two sit back and reflect on his time, what's one or two of the things you're going to miss the most about regularly visiting South Bend?
For me, I will probably say I will miss tailgating with the parents. Um, we truly have become family. So those moments, the time that we get to spend, and I'm talking in the good and the bad. I mean, like our group chats, all of the relationships that we have made through Notre Dame, some of the stories that we have are like, they're not even believable. We have made some friendships with fans that have now become family to us. And so I will say probably the tailgating, and then the relationships that we have made with, I will say, fans that have turned family to us. That's what I'll miss.
I think that just simply going up to South Bend on game weekends, and we usually get up on Fridays, and we hang out, we go to the bookstore. We just go to the bookstore. We don't necessarily buy anything. We just
Yep.
go Eddy Street bookstore campus. and we just walk. We just walk the campus, and I mean, we always find ourselves at Touchdown Jesus, even though we're going to be there during the player walk. We still find
Right.
ourselves there the day before, and it's just taking in the campus. And we know that the time has flown by. Like you don't realize that 4 years goes by really quick. I mean, he didn't get the COVID year, so he was the class after that. So I mean, the best thing would just to be really enjoy the time that you have while you're at Notre Dame, just because it does fly by really quick, and it is a special place. I mean, I know a lot of people say that about every fan base, every campus, but Notre Dame has so much history. Like I said, it's worldwide. I mean, she got to go to the Ireland game, and fans out there. I mean, it's an amazing program to be a part of. I mean, we'll cherish these memories for the rest of our lives.
Awesome. All right, lightning round time. I think I already know the answer for this one, but favorite spot on campus for mom and dad?
For me, the grotto.
On campus, probably the bookstore for me.
Bookstore? Okay. I walk in there every time too. I mean, you can spend your mortgage on everything in there too, but I got to fight the temptation every time I visit. Okay, favorite place to have dinner, and this is for mom and dad. Favorite place to have dinner when in South Bend? If the two of you decide.
It's tough. It's usually
O'Rourke's is where we end up at.
Yeah.
Okay, what if Jayden's having mom and dad take him out to dinner? Where's Jayden having mom and dad buy him dinner at?
You mean where's Jayden taking mom and dad?
Yeah, where
Jayden's buying.
He's buying.
Okay, where's Jayden going? Where's he picking?
Where was that place we just went to? It was so good.
Great. Now you don't know the name. Oh well. He just took us to a place last time we were up there. We cannot.
Oh, you mean the place where he took us for lunch?
Yeah.
Bar Louie's.
Oh, the new one, the three. Yeah, that's a new one. The 3 stories. Yes, that place is great. Okay. Favorite. Well, I think it's probably going to be O'Rourke's. Favorite spot for mom and dad to have a pre or post game cocktail?
Oh, I would say O'Rourke's are probably brothers because he lives
right there.
Right. Oh yeah, O'Rourke's are brothers.
Or Brewburger.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Eddie,
close to
Eddie
JT
Street.
and
Eddie Street.
Eddie Street's awesome. Eddie Street's awesome. Okay, favorite place. Where did you guys usually stay in South Bend? Favorite place to stay?
We've stayed all over. We South Bend. We stayed Mishawaka.
Probably say if we could.
If we're in South Bend,
it would be St. Mary's
or St. Mary's Inn.
Yeah.
Yep. I love that place too. All right, if you're pizza eaters, favorite pizza spot in South Bend? Did you find one?
Blaze.
Blaze
by far.
Mom,
although
you on board with that?
Really, just recently, and this doesn't count as South Bend, but we just had the best pizza, and it was in Elkhart. Do we know where that came from?
It wasn't was it a brewery or something? I feel like there's a brew pub out there that does pizza.
No, it's not even that.
No?
I think it's smaller than that.
It's a small. I don't know.
But that was some good pizza.
It was
But that was in Elkhart.
But it was okay. Bend. But it wasn't Elkhart.
Right. But have you been to Rocco's South Bend yet? Have you been to Rocco's?
No.
Okay.
And we love pizza.
I'm gonna tell you right now. When I post this, majority of the comments are gonna be that you didn't say Rocco's. You got to go there once.
Then we're gonna go then.
Yeah,
we
do
love,
it.
Like
do it.
We okay.
And is it straight pizza?
Yes. I mean, it's a like an old towny pub style, but pizza's the claim to. It's been around a million years. It's the claim to fame in South Bend. You got to do the pizza there once. It's a staple.
Is it?
Then we need to go.
Yeah, do that. You definitely have to do that. Okay. Favorite stadium, not counting Notre Dame, and he's been a ton of stadiums, but favorite stadium to visit, not counting Notre Dame Stadium.
What would it be like? Would you say where he scored his first touchdown? Does that count? Because that's not a college stadium.
Well, either whatever. Let's do high school. Let's do high school and then college.
Okay, well, she's talking about.
I'm talking about
when we played at Allegiant Stadium.
When we played BYU.
Oh,
so
that was a fun one.
Allegiant Stadium. That's where he scored his first touchdown. So.
And it's Vegas.
And it was Vegas.
I was there. That was a great. I love it. That was a great game. That was a great weekend.
But I will say, I think the best atmosphere I'm gonna say Texas A&M. I thought
Mhm.
I
Too
I
hot.
I thought that was amazing.
Too hot.
It was hot.
Too
It
hot.
was hot.
But I thought it was amazing. I thought that atmosphere and the 12th man,
I think
like
the fans were super
the
nice.
fans were
Yeah.
nice, but
I
it
thought the
was
same thing. Super welcoming. Was that the loudest stadium you'd been in?
no. I think we
Really?
could give
The
that
horseshoe.
to Ohio
Oh
State.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. That makes total sense. Okay, so Texas A&M and M and then Allegiant Stadium. Okay.
Yes.
Favorite moment, I think I already know this one, probably be his first touchdown with Notre Dame. But favorite moment of Jayden's football career so far, high school or college?
I would say his first touchdown.
Mhm.
And then I would follow that up with for me, which was special, it was Ireland.
Oh
And
yeah.
the reason being, and I've talked about this before, and this is for fans to give them some perspective when I know NIL gets a bad rap, but if it had not been for NIL, JT sent me to Ireland. I would not have been able to afford to go watch him play in Ireland if it had not been for NIL. And he said there was no way he was going to play in Ireland and his mom not be there. And so he took care of me and made sure I could go watch him play, and he scored a touchdown there.
Oh.
So that was everything for me. So those are some reasons why NIL is so important to some of these boys, because every family doesn't have the funds to be able to travel and watch their child play. And so NIL makes it possible for that to be able to happen for some of these boys. So that's just a little perspective for people that say like they don't understand why, these boys, like this money is not just going, like if they think they're like buying, I don't know, like chains and
Yeah.
But that's where you see a lot of kids, you always see them transfer closer to home so that their family can watch them,
can see them play.
Yeah.
Versus if you got some NIL, then you can have your family come see you
You fly
play.
them out.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's the positive side of it, right? I mean, we can sit here and talk about the things in the negative way might be changing college football, but a story like that, I mean, how could you argue against NIL, right? Like, that's awesome. All right, we got two more. Funnest game of Jayden's career to watch.
I think that the Gator Bowl, that was a pretty good game.
Yes, that was Gator Bowl. Yeah, the Gator
Okay.
Bowl was fun.
Okay. Okay.
Being able to you can always tell when they are just having
Fun.
when they're having fun out there.
Yeah.
When it doesn't look like a job, and that was a game where you literally could see it while they were playing.
It was like before the game, during the game, and after the game was all good.
Yeah.
I mean,
just a bunch of kids playing football.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Last question. Thank you, Randy and April, for being here. Describe being a Notre Dame parent in one word.
Are we talking about this season or overall?
Overall.
Overall. I would say proud. That would be my word. Proud.
That was going to be mine.
Proud. Well, now you have me intrigued. So if it's proud, what about this season?
Oh, you walked into that one.
Yeah, you teed it up.
Yeah. I'm just excited for us to run the table. That's what I'm excited
Yeah,
about.
you tell me about it.
I'm going to give you two words, and
Okay.
it's what I just looked at my wrist, and it's choose hard, because that is like.
And that has a lot of meaning because, like, it has to do with don't take the easy route, but also understand you're going to a school that's hated by the entire nation. I mean,
yes,
it's like
everybody's Super Bowl. Everybody's Super Bowl.
You get everybody's best, no matter what's every year. You get everybody's best, and that's what a lot of people don't understand about Notre Dame. It's like every team is going to play up their best. They've been waiting for the Notre Dame game. Since it's been put on the schedule. I mean, 3 years ago. I mean, they've been waiting for that Notre Dame game. So you get everybody's best, and that also makes our kids realize that we have to put out our best effort every time, because it doesn't matter who we're playing. They're going to give us their best.
Yeah. And I truly feel like these kids, it is not for the weak. I will say that, because kind of like what you said, we are like everybody's Super Bowl, but the pressure comes from everywhere all the time. So when they made this choice, as parents, when we made this choice, when we all, like, everybody chose hard for this. So, and that's taken the good and the bad.
Oh yeah, because we wear our
green all the time. So
we didn't wear this for the interview.
This is what we look like, right, I mean, all the time.
And you get, we're in Georgia country. This is UGA. It's right. UGA or die. But we get we get the Rudy's was offsides. We get the
join a conference.
You get it all. You get it all.
Yeah,
you just,
of course,
laugh it off or whatever, and what they say, they what's Lou always say, they hate us because they ain't us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, now with a 12-team playoff, I mean, I'm kind of overhearing the whole join a conference thing. It's like so tired.
Yeah.
You have given me almost 40 minutes on a football Sunday. The group loves you guys. You're awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you. Give our best to Jayden and whatever decision he makes going forward. We're always rooting for him. You guys are the best. April, Randy, thank you so much.
Thank you. And let me just say this. We really, really, really do appreciate your support of our boys. We love the way that you run this group. Just all of the positivity and I will even say, even the criticism, like I'm a part of a ton of groups, but I particularly love your group because I do appreciate that, like, as parents, like, we're used to the criticism. We've had high caliber athletes for a long time. So that kind of stuff doesn't really bother us. But I really appreciate that. I know you took a lot of heat when you have tried to say, guys, we can be upset, but let's keep some perspective here. And I just want to tell you how much we appreciate the integrity that you run your group. For parents of players, we do appreciate that. And I can tell you, like, the coaches, I'm sure they're like, they probably are not, but their wives, their children, they're a part of these groups. You all may not really see them, but they are, and they appreciate it. So thank you very much on behalf of all of us. We really, really do.
Oh, well, that's beyond touching. And that's why we're here. So thank you. Thank you so much. That's why we do this. You guys are awesome. Have a great Sunday. We'll see you on the boards. And before you go,
yes.
What is the next game? So you'll probably be at a couple games in South Bend. Are you going to all of them this year, or? So
because our youngest plays sports too, we don't get to come to all of them because we have to support him. But we will be at Florida State. We will be at UVA.
We're gonna make the Georgia Tech game.
Will you make that one?
We'll be here at Georgia Tech. But
what kind of commute is that for you? An hour, maybe?
Yeah. But in South Bend, it'll be Florida State, and UVA will be our last two that we come to South Bend until we get to the playoffs.
Till we host our first playoff.
That's
game.
What I'm talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Fantastic. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you so much.
Appreciate you.
Right. Have a great day. Thank you.
Bye.
Go Irish. Thanks, everybody.
Go Irish.